cost of living is a big motivating factor for people who are thinking about making a move. It was a factor for my wife and I when we were considering a move. It wasn't the only thing that we were considering. There were many reasons why we wanted to move to a smaller city from a large town, but the cost of living was part of our decision-making process. We were coming from a large city, Los Angeles, where the cost of housing was crazy, utilities were high, insurance was high, daycare was expensive. Like, everything in large cities tends to be more expensive than smaller cities. The one thing where I found that was fairly even was the cost of groceries, entertainment, going out, getting a bite to eat, having a drink. So if you're looking for those specific costs, you're not going to find that in this video. I'm going to be focusing on larger ticket items that actually do vary depending on where you're living throughout the country, throughout the state, and throughout the city. So stay tuned in this video and we're going to jump into the cost of living in Salem, Oregon. Okay, the first item in the video is going to be the cost of housing. This is the biggest factor for many people when considering making a move, so I'm not going to make you wait to the end, although I do suggest going to the end of the video because I will talk about salaries, the average salary in Salem, Oregon, and we're going to go over a couple different job categories so you can have certain expectations of what you're going to be, your potential earnings will be when moving to Salem. So, cost of housing. Salem can be broken down into 4 major regions. Of course, it could be broken down even further because the cost of housing will depend on specific neighborhoods. But we're going to focus on the 4 major regions in Salem. Now, if we take a big picture of Salem, the median price for a single family home is going to be $418,000. Now, this is down a little bit. It used to be $430,000. So the market has come down a little bit. That's kind of the case in many regions of the country, and Salem is no exception. Now, as I go over these regions, a map's going to pop up so you can see where I'm talking about in relation to the city as a whole. And the first region we're going to talk about is the northwest section of Salem. As you cross the bridge over the Willamette River, that's where my family and I decided to settle and buy a home a few years ago. And I'm going to look at my notes here so I have all the numbers correct. For a median home in the northwest Salem area, we're looking at about $505,000 for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, around 2,000 square feet or so. Now, this area is a little bit more isolated to the rest of Salem. As I mentioned, you have to cross a bridge, and it's really the only way you're going to get to the rest of Salem. There are a couple other options. You can check out my other videos to see what those options are, but it takes you way out of the way. So as much as you are a little bit isolated from the rest of Salem, that's what my family and I really enjoyed because we wanted to be close enough to amenities, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and yet feel like we're not living kind of in the middle of the city. So you can see what the median price is for there. Now we're going to jump into South Salem, where the median price is going to be $496,000, where it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, around 1,800 square feet. Now, Northwest Salem and South Salem are going to be your 2 most expensive regions in the Salem area, in the Salem city. This, of course, there are some exceptions when you get out into the farmland area where you're actually purchasing land acreage. Well, then it's a different story because now you're paying for a lot of land, so the prices will go up from there no matter where you are in Salem. The benefits of being in South Salem is that you're closer to your amenities. You don't have to drive as far. You have more of them surrounding you. It feels a little bit more like you're part of the city, but in a lot of ways you don't have the space, and you're just closer to more options when it comes to grocery stores, when it comes to restaurants, when it comes to shopping. South Salem has a little bit more to offer as far as those amenities. Now we're going to go into Southeast Salem, where the median price is $463,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. That's around 1,400 square feet. Now this area, homes tend to be a little bit smaller. Now you are still part of that South Salem section, so again, you're closer to amenities than you would be as, for instance, if you were in the northwest section of Salem. Now we're going to jump into Central Salem. Now this is closer to the downtown area, and your median price is going to be $350,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home, and it's going to be about 1,200 square feet. Now these are where your older, smaller bungalow homes are going to be situated. As far as affordability goes, this is going to be one of your more affordable areas when it comes to the Salem area. And you are also central to most of Salem, so pretty much anywhere you want to go, you're going to be kind of, think of like a bicycle wheel, the spokes coming out. You can get to every region fairly quickly and fairly easily. I'm going to throw in 2 more areas now that I'm talking about this. They are both going to be east of the I-5 freeway. And we're going to talk about the northeast section. The median price is going to be about $435,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. When you're in the northeast section, that side of the 5 freeway, you are closer to Kaiser. Again, I've mentioned that before, which is kind of a sister city, a lot of amenities there. You're also a little bit more into the kind of the rural, closer to the rural and farmland areas. You're kind of on the outskirts of where all the urban growth is, right at the border there where it becomes farmland. Then if you go into the southern section, the southeast section, the median price is going to be $415,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, for about the same size, 1,500 square foot home. Again, east of the I-5 freeway. Out in that area, you've got the Salem Airport, which is close by. Now that it's actually running commercial flights to Los Angeles, into the Burbank area. They're also running into Las Vegas, and they're going to be adding Phoenix and probably a couple of other areas as well very soon. Out in the area, you also have large big box stores like your Walmart and Lowe's and some other some restaurants out there. Again, these areas are a little bit more in the outskirts, puts you closer to the farmland area, a little bit further away from what the rest of Salem has to offer. So this was a very general overview. If you want more specific information, make sure you reach out to my team and I at the contact information below for specific neighborhoods, because they do vary. This is a general price range that I've given you, and they do go up and down as the months and the seasons go by. And so definitely reach out and I give you more detailed information if you're looking for a specific area in the Salem area, or if you know you want to be close to your work, I can guide you of what areas to look in for that as well. Again, I'm Dave Fein with the Real Estate Dads at eXp Realty, local real estate agent right here in the Salem, Oregon area. My team and I love helping people move and relocate to and from Salem. So if you're thinking about making that move, reach out to the contact information below. And if you like my videos, hit the subscribe button so you get more of those videos, and then hit the bell for notifications. If you like what you see, hit that like button and comment below. We always love to answer questions. My team and I have helped many people relocate to this city, and we love it. So we are here for you at any time that you need us. The next item we're going to talk about are utilities. And this is a big one because this will vary depending on where you're moving from. So this could be less expensive or more expensive. We do have a lot of weather here. So our utilities do vary in range, and we have various utility companies here as well that have different prices as well, and depending on where you're living, you're kind of stuck with that particular utility. I'm curious, comment below while we're talking about the cost to see if you have any specific concerns that you have when it comes to the cost of when making the move to Salem. So let's jump into utilities. I'm going to go over my specific bills over in the West Salem area. I've got a house that's a little over 2,500 square feet. It's 5 bedrooms, and we've got a few bathrooms. Just to give you an idea, we've got a family of 4, and so we're going to run over the utilities again. I've got my notes here, so I make sure I give you the correct numbers. When it comes to water and sewer, that's going to be coming from the city of Salem. Now, during the fall, winter, and spring, our bills are running about $115 a month, and during the summer, it jumps up to $150 a month. The reason is mainly the water bill goes up a lot higher because we've got our sprinklers going on way more often. Actually, we have our sprinklers on during the summer because it does get hot here, and your grass will dry up and die pretty quickly. Now, what the cool thing is, once fall hits into winter and most of spring, our sprinklers are actually shut off because it rains so much here in the Northwest in the Salem area. If you want more information about the weather, check out some of our other videos. Just to give you an idea of how much it does rain here. So the benefit of that is you're not spending a lot of money watering your lawn, watering your garden, because nature is taking care of that. Now let's talk about the electricity. Now in West Salem, part of West Salem, we're with Portland General Electric. They're actually one of the more expensive electric companies. We just had a 17% increase that happened this year. It was supposed to be 7, they jumped it up to 17. And so for fall, winter, and spring, we're paying about $90 a month. And when it comes to summer, we're doing $120. And again, mainly because we've got that AC cranking. We do get some heat waves here. It'll be in the 80s, 90s, and it does hit triple digits once in a while. So we've got the air conditioning cranking pretty much all day, every day to keep it at a comfortable temperature during the summer, and that's why your bill is going to be higher during that month. Now let's talk about gas. Gas here, I've got Northwest Natural Gas. In the summer, it's minimal. It's like $11 a month. And for the fall and spring, it's $60 a month. And for winter, it's $140. And that's because we've got our heater going and our fireplace. And the fireplace is electric start, but it does gas burn. And we have other gas utilities that we run a lot more during that winter section. So like anywhere else, you're going to be using more gas if you've got it during the winter. So it gives you an idea of what to expect. When it comes to trash and recycling, we're about $100 a month for that. If you do want a special pickup, they do charge you for it. They do have a drop-off section, at least in West Salem, where you can go and drop off like your cardboard, your big boxes, your bottles if you want to do that. It's pretty close by in the West Salem area. And then for cable and internet, we're using Xfinity that covers our cable. We've got all the channels, and we've got a very high-speed internet, and so that's running us total $240 a month. There are much cheaper options. That's just the plan that we've got for now. Actually, I'll probably be cutting the cord with cable. I'm not a huge fan of Xfinity streaming, so just as a note, if you're thinking about streaming services, I don't recommend Xfinity streaming. They have so many glitches, and they're just expensive in general. Probably be either switching or dropping the cable. But their internet has actually pretty been good for us, especially very high speeds that we need. We work from home, and that's just what we need. So $240 is our combined bill. So that gives you an idea for utilities. That's what we're paying, family of four, in the northwest section of Salem. So you have an idea. Those are my actual numbers, my actual bills. The next item is going to be commuting. When you live in Salem, you're going to need a car. We do have a mass transit system with our bus, chariots. Doesn't really get you to where you need to go throughout the city. Definitely don't have any subway here. We're too small for that. We've got some people that like to bike, but again, not the most bike-friendly city. And the city is just a little too sprawled out, even though it's small, to get anywhere by bike. So you're going to need a car. So we're going to focus on the cost of operating your vehicle. And of course, we're going to start off with a big one, which is price of gas. For 87, the low-grade stuff, which most people use anyway, you're going to be $3.85 a gallon. Now, this is higher than the national average, which is $3.45. Of course, this varies, but if you're coming from a larger city, this is a bit of a break. I know we pay a lot less here in gas than where I used to live in Los Angeles, where the average is $4.30. And of course, that's going to go up during the summer. It always does. And in Seattle, if you're thinking about moving from there, it's $4.70. San Francisco is $5.50. Portland, $4.25. And if you're coming from another large city, I'm sure we're going to be lower. Unless you're coming from Texas, that's a whole different story. Gas is pretty cheap there in that state. Now, I did mention you need to commute everywhere when it comes to living in Salem, but the good news is we don't have a whole lot of traffic, especially if you are coming from a large city where you're sitting in traffic, just idling, burning off gas. Not only is it aggravating because it's taking forever to get everywhere, but you're spending a lot of money going nowhere. Well, in Salem, you're actually driving. So yeah, you're spending money on gasoline, but you're not spending nearly as much just idling in traffic. We do have some traffic periods, and if you talk to locals or people that have been here a long time, they say that the traffic has gotten worse. But from my experience, again, and from if you check it out from yourself, if you're moving from a large city, traffic here is nothing. And so you're going to be spending a lot less in gas when it comes to the price and just less wasting of gas. Now, let's talk about car insurance, because that's another big factor when owning cars. We're spending about $2,200 a year for two cars, two SUVs. Now, the national average is $3,800 for two cars. So you can see it is significantly lower here in the Salem area. From my personal experience, we were spending around $3,000 a year when we were living in Los Angeles. So this was a big decrease for us, and we certainly enjoyed that. Now, when you are driving, you're going to have to park your car somewhere. The good news about Salem is there's really not a lot of paid parking. There are a couple lots and some meters on the streets, kind of in the downtown area, but there are a lot of free parking It's 3 hour zone restricted, but that's kind of all you need when you're in the downtown area. They've got a large parking structure that is free. And then anywhere you go kind of in the outskirts outside of the downtown area, you can expect free parking. Now, again, if you're coming from a large city like we did, you're paying for parking pretty much everywhere, or you've got a street parking. If you're not paying for parking, you've got like 6 street signs just on these posts, and you can't figure out if you can park there or not because it's so restricted with the days and times. You just don't have that here in Salem. So if you're used to paying for parking, whether you're going for work or for entertainment, you can expect to pay a lot less if you pay at all when moving to Salem. Also, if you're coming from big cities, a lot of places have valet services just because it's so congested and there is no parking. Well, again, in Salem, you don't really have to worry about that. Yes, some of the hotels here in the downtown area have valet, but you don't need to worry that you're going to be forced into valeting your car because we just don't have that high demand or the need for it. So that's a big break too, because when you're coming from a big city, you're spending ridiculous amount of money just to park your car or have somebody drive and park your car for you. So good break on the cost when it comes to commuting when you're going to be moving to Salem. Now, this next topic is going to be very important for those that have little kids or is going to be starting a family, and that is the cost of daycare, childcare, babysitting, especially if you are a 2-income family like my family is, and you don't have friends or family to watch your kids while you're working. You've got to send them to daycare. So this topic certainly should be important. And not only when you're working, but sometimes you just need a break from your kids and you need a date night or just to go out. And so you need someone to watch your kids for that as well. I've got a 3-year-old that is currently in daycare, and we're spending around $1,400 a month. Now, you can find some that are a little bit less expensive and maybe even a little bit more expensive, but that's what we're paying. This is, again, a lot less if you're coming from a big city. We were paying closer to $2,000 a month, so this was a significant savings for us. And if you had 2 young kids in daycare at the same time like we did at one point, the cost really adds up and can be quite significant. So it is a nice break when you're coming to Salem, at least for us it was, from a big city. Now, when it comes to babysitters, yeah, we lean on family and friends as much as we can, but sometimes they're not available and we need a little bit of a date night or a little escape. And you can expect to pay between $15 to $17 an hour for babysitting. National average is about $15 an hour, so we're kind of right on par for that. And for us, again, I mentioned that we've come from a big city because I'm relating that to you because you may be moving from a large city. We were paying a lot more to find babysitting in a large city like Los Angeles. It was $20, $25 an hour, sometimes more if you've got 2 kids. And so this was a big break for us. It allows us to find entertainment and enjoy a little bit of one-on-one time without the kids a little bit more often. And let's face it, our kids probably enjoy that time away from us as well because they get to have a little bit more fun, a little less more lenient with the babysitters. Another big cost for people are taxes. Now, I will state here, and you'll probably see it pop up below, I am not a tax professional, so definitely consult a licensed professional or a CPA so you can get more specific information from person who specializes in that area. I'm just going to be talking about what I'm finding online and what I'm telling you from my own experience when it comes to taxes. So Oregon in general, when it comes to income tax, you're not going to get much of a break. In fact, we're one of the highest taxed states in the country. We're in the top 5. Only California, Hawaii, New York, and New Jersey are above us. Now, we are in a tiered system, so you're going to be paying, depending on your bracket, between 4.75% to 9.9% of your income will go to state income taxes. Now, depending on which bracket you fall in, we're actually in the top 3 when it comes to the highest state income tax. It's actually why quite a few people are moving away from Oregon or away from Salem to find places that either have no income tax or a lower income tax. Now, we came from a place that in California, our income tax actually went down a little bit. But again, you've got to be in those top 5 states to see any relief. Otherwise, you're going to be paying more in income tax. Now, we do get a break when it comes to sales tax because we don't have a sales tax here, which is pretty cool. It is significant. It adds up, especially if you got a family. I've got a family of 4. We consume, and so we get a break on our purchases, especially when you're buying large purchases. When we moved here, Our car went out on us, so unfortunately we had to buy a new car, but we didn't have to pay any sales tax on that, and that was pretty significant for us. And any other larger items, it doesn't have to be that large, but big ticket items, you're just not hit with the extra tax. And it's nice when you are shopping, the price you see, you can add it up and you know what you're paying. You don't have to factor in some additional costs. Now, if you're moving here and you're going to be forming a corporation, you're having a corporation and you're going to transfer to Oregon, there is corporate tax here, and that's going to be between 6.6% and 7.6%. So just be prepared for that if you're an entrepreneur thinking about starting your own business here in the Salem area. Now, the big one is property taxes, and that's going to vary by county. Most of Salem is going to be in Marion County, and the property tax is going to be about 1.15% of the property's value. That is going to be the sixth most expensive county in Oregon. Now, if you're in the northwest section, you're going to be in Polk County. It's a little bit less, not by much. It's 1.12% of the value of your home. Now, again, I am not a professional, tax professional, so seek that advice from those professional services. But just to give you an idea of what to expect when it comes to taxes when moving to Salem, so you're not caught off guard or by surprise, you can have a little bit of an idea. Now, as promised, I'm going to go over some salaries and the minimum wage here in the Salem, Oregon area, so you have an idea of what to expect when it comes to your income earning power. Now, the minimum wage here in the Salem area is $14.70. This is pretty much throughout most of Oregon, except if you're in the Portland area, where it's $15.95. You get a little bump up in the minimum wage in Portland, but it is a lot more expensive when it comes to housing there. So I don't really know if it evens out, but that little bump up is there in Portland. Now, this is according to ZipRecruiter. Also, according to ZipRecruiter, the average salary in the Salem area is $76,000, which is around $37 an hour. So just to give you an idea. Now, let's break down certain job categories. I'm not going to go over them all, but just in case you are in one of these fields, if you want more information, please reach out and we can help guide you to find that information. Now, if you're in the doctor and healthcare field, your average salary is going to be about $109,000. If you're in the legal field, an attorney, it's about $107,000. When you're in the management sector, it's $103,000. Computer IT, you're making around $90,000 a year. If you're an educator in teaching services, library services, you're at $67,000 a year. And if you're in healthcare support, if you're not in the doctor or the technician side, you're looking at about $42,000 a year. And if you're in the farming, fishing, and forestry, which is a very popular field here, your average salary is going to be about $36,000 a year. I'm going to go over two more. Law enforcement is about $62,000 a year. And if you're in sales, $45,000 a year. Now, of course, there's a plethora of other jobs out there. This is just to give you an idea of certain sectors of what to expect when moving to Salem. These are some of the more popular career sectors in the Salem area. This will either be good news or not so good news, depending on where you're moving from. Of course, if you are living in a larger city, then you're probably going to be making more money. However, your cost of living is going to come down significantly when moving to Salem. Now, if you're in an equivalent size city or if you're in a smaller city, then maybe you get a bump up in pay, but then your cost of living is going to probably be a little bit more expensive as well. My team and I absolutely love helping people move to and from Salem. So if you are thinking about making that move and relocating, make sure you reach out to the contact information below. Hit the subscribe button to get more videos, the like button if you like what you see, hit the bell to get notified for when the next video drops. And of course, comment below. Would love to hear why you're thinking about making that move to Salem.